So I made a film called Retaliation, and I got into a festival, and I want to talk about it.
You hear me? You're dead!
So Retaliation is basically my response to all the anti-Asian racism that has been happening during COVID era. There were a few incidents when I myself, including my family, were on the receiving end. Nothing violent had happened, but I read several upsetting news articles about those hate crimes around the country. Meanwhile, the Last of Us franchise and the film's Deliverance and First Blood served as the major creative influences. I've also had this personal mission to make films featuring Asian leads, starting with my senior capstone film, and I saw this as an opportunity to get back into filmmaking. Going back to reading the articles, I feel that two reported incidents were the creative spark. A Hmong hunter was threatened and attacked by three white hunters. That was a blueprint. Then, an elderly grandmother has sent her own attacker to the hospital.
Video going viral of another frightening attack targeting an Asian American. This one happening today in San Francisco. A woman simply standing next to a lamppost with her small shopping cart when a man walked up and started hitting her in the face. She's 70 years old. She suffered a bruised face and a swollen eye. You see the blood on her face, but she fought back. She fought back with a stick she carries for protection, and it was her attacker who ended up being taken to the hospital, handcuffed to a stretcher. Eyewitnesses had to pull her away to stop the beating she was giving him with that stick. This is just the latest in a disturbing series of attacks targeting Asians in the Bay Area and across the United States.
The main takeaway I got from these two incidents that bled into the film, so to speak, was fuck around and find out. When I sat down with my DP and producer, Phil and Dalton, the first two people who signed on, I explained that my initial budget was going to be $5,000. My senior capstone was about $1,000, so at the time I thought that was a reasonable increase. How wrong I was. The casting process and table read went very smoothly. I based my hiring on both decent dramatic work and significant experience or training in stage combat. I was pretty confident in pulling out great dramatic performances, and I thought we would collaborate on the fight choreography. But I was clearly in over my head due to the heavy stunt work. Concerns were rightfully raised about safety, so I had to look into getting a stunt coordinator. At that point, we were about to start production in about 2 weeks or so, but because I couldn't deliver on time with hiring a stunt coordinator, I lost two actors for John in quick succession. I was panicking. Then my actress for Grace, Stephanie, said she knew a guy. Enter Kage, who had already worked with Stephanie on numerous occasions. I was pretty confident that chemistry and that the fight choreography wouldn't be a huge issue with them, like a piece of shit who had no regard for safety. I hunted around for an affordable but experienced stunt coordinator, and then just as we were about to go for our first and only rehearsal day, Jay emailed me. Rehearsals went smoothly thanks to Jay, and I feel that we all could breathe way easier. But we had to cut it short because Dalton unfortunately had gotten stung by wasps in the area. Thank you, Dalton, for your sacrifice, by the way. So, counting paying everybody and feeding everybody, the budget came about to around $15,000. Then, over the course of 4 shoot days in 2 weeks, filming went pretty smoothly. I won't bore you with every single detail, but a typical shoot day went like this. I pick up bagels and coffee for the cast and crew. Dalton oversees a safety meeting, go over what we'd be shooting that day, and depending on which stunts we were doing and whether the prop gun was in use. We all hike to the location and set up base camp where we all get ready. We shoot according to whatever's on the call sheet. We hike back down to break for lunch where I become an introvert and recharge. Then we hike back up to finish what's left. And then we finish and don't see each other until the next shoot day. Post-production was its own low-key struggle. I decided to hire an editor this time because when I edit my own stuff, it's a freaking slog. So I posted an ad looking for an editor and had maybe like 3 people respond. One person I spoke to basically scammed me out $250, claiming he never received my deposit, even after I called my bank, who confirmed that he should have gotten the money, so I called it off. Then I met Brandon, another fellow filmmaker, and the rest is history. Please check out his work, he deserves it. I think deep down, I really want to make an action movie, and it clearly shows in the second half where I cared way more about the fight scenes than the rest of the movie, and I think they're the best parts of the movie. But I do wish that I cared more about making a good movie overall. Don't get me wrong, I am proud of this movie, and I think this is an improvement over my senior capstone film, but I think I made the same mistakes as well as new ones. For example, I didn't really use a shot list or my storyboards again, I just went with what felt right in my head. But as all artists know, what we imagine in our minds doesn't always translate best in our preferred mediums. I just don't like some of my shot choices. I also wish I spent more time with my actors. Granted, the film and their roles didn't really call for that much dramatic work, but still. At this time of recording, Retaliation has been accepted into one festival so far, rejected by 6, and from a total of 14 festivals. I think it's a little noteworthy to say that most of those rejections came from Asian American centric film festivals, but hopefully that can change. All in all, I'd say that Retaliation has been a challenging but ultimately rewarding return to filmmaking. It's not perfect, but for me, I'd say represents growth both creatively and personally. I've learned a lot about collaboration, planning, and the importance of balancing vision with execution. I'm proud of what my team and I accomplished, and I see this as a start of something bigger, telling stories that matter to me with a clearer vision this time.